Hi, I'm Terry Brock, and I got a chance right now to share something with you that you are going to love. My guest joining me is Mindy Gibbins-Klein, and she is from the UK. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you're visiting us here now, and we were talking about what's going on with thought leadership, and this is something I know you're doing a lot of work in that field. And a lot of people talk about being a thought leader, what it is. I want to hear from you, because you study this a lot. What is thought leadership, and what defines a thought leader?
Well, according to the studies that I've done and 24 Karat Bold, the book that I've been promoting for 6 years, thought leadership is having new, exciting, challenging, and innovative ideas, sharing those, having the courage to share them widely, and being recognized for them. So it's all three components: having the idea, the big, bold idea, sharing it, and getting the recognition.
Now, a lot of people say, hey, I'm a thought leader or so, and I know that you're a little skeptical of that. There's a good word there, skeptical. And why would we be skeptical of someone who says, I am a thought leader?
I honestly believe that if you are doing good thought leadership, you will be recognized as a thought leader, and there's no need to call yourself one. Why do people need to give themselves labels? It makes me cringe a little bit. It's much better to allow your market to call you one, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so, because that way you're able to really show what you're doing without saying, hi, I'm wonderful, I'm the greatest, etc. I see that a lot with speakers. Often speakers have what I call eye trouble. And I'm not talking about I as in EYE, but I did this and I did that, and oh, I'm great, and I did this, and I've sold this many. And I found for speakers, when you hear somebody like that, just kind of step back and go, how many times are they saying I? And literally start counting. You know, it's kind of along the lines of what you're talking about with thought leadership. Now, thought leadership, I think you have a great way of putting it when we were talking. You said it starts with certain core messages and principles. Tell us about what your research has shown and what you've come up with on that.
Okay, well, the term that people tend to be using nowadays is content marketing. We've heard it, we know a lot of people using it, but it's made me think that that's really just the starting point. In fact, content marketing can be a bit misleading because everybody's doing content. The Yellow Pages has content, right? Yeah. So I
remember those from long ago.
All the books on your shelf, there's content, but it's not always quality content. Ooh. That's the difference. Yeah. So I think thought leadership is where you're doing content marketing, you're creating content in the form of books and blogs, articles, videos, interviews like this, speaking. It's unlimited what you can do with content, but it's thought-leading, thought-provoking, compelling content. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so how do we define compelling content? Not just content for the sake of it being drivel, or there's probably a few other more colorful military terms for that, but we'll use the term drivel, that it's out there just like that. How do you define and what makes for quality content?
I think the market decides. This is what I've said in my speaking and writing for many years. So you can have a great idea until you test it in the market, you don't know. But I think people do understand what's a big, bold, exciting, disruptive new idea because it's something they haven't heard before, gets people talking. The holy grail is it goes viral, of course. Mm-hmm. And the opposite of that is you put it out there and it gets 2 likes and gets buried very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Mindy, I like what you're saying because I think in today's world, and those of you watching this will know we're just inundated with content. And I'm not talking about all the drivel that's out there because we can filter that out. The things I don't want to know about, okay, fine, I'm not going. I find just personally, and maybe you've noticed this as well, there's so much good content. I just can't process it all. I can't read all of the good stuff. I can't listen to all of the good podcasts or all the good videos. And so the content seems like it's becoming even more important. What level are we at now with making good quality content?
The phrase that we use at Real Thought Leaders, one of my brands, is push your thinking. And that's something that many people are not used to doing. They don't even know what we mean by it until we explain. What we mean is spending extra time and care and really delving deep. It does take a little bit more effort, and this is why some people think that they should outsource or delegate or get their content ghostwritten. And we believe that real thought leaders are coming up with and producing and writing and speaking their own content. You can't delegate a speech, for example, so why should you delegate an article? and you really can't delegate your thinking, is what we're saying.
Yeah, I like that. I think if we are publishers, which we are, then okay, you might want to connect with some others who do writing for you, a guest columnist. That would be something. But if you're going to be a real thought leader, if I'm hearing you correctly, be a real thought leader, you need to do the production of and the origination of, the writing of the content itself. Is that right?
That is correct. You need to do your own writing and publishing and thinking, and thinking definitely, and speaking. You can get help with this, and obviously there's editors and there's spell check, and people are concerned, about their grammar. That can all be fixed. But really nobody else can do your thinking for you. And so I would encourage people listening and watching to push their thinking, to get a little bit more adventurous. There's all sorts of exercises that we do on our courses and with our clients, and it involves getting a little bit out of your comfort zone and being honest about what you think and believe about core issues in your industry, in your field, and deciding to put some things out there that are a bit controversial, not for the sake of it, but because you firmly believe in them and you're willing to pursue that and be known for that.
Yeah, I agree. What role does research play in this?
It is important to understand what others are saying, although I do think people can rely too much on research. They can get a little bit too bogged down in what other people have to say and waste a lot of time, which could be spent producing stuff. So we say have a general idea of what's being said and what's going on so that you're not ignorant about it. But don't spend too much time reading other people's stuff. 3 reasons. 1, it's the time, as I've said. That's time you should be spending producing. 2, you can be influenced and you can accidentally plagiarize other people. And you really don't want to do that. You want to come across as original. That's the whole point. And 3, as you read more and more of other people's great ideas, you can begin to feel a little bit uncomfortable, you can feel underconfident, you can think, wow, it's been said so well, it's been said, it's been done, what do I have to contribute? And it can actually undermine your own confidence, Terry.
Yeah, so it's important to make sure that you're creating the original material on your own. You're out there working in the marketplace doing it, because I think the analogy that I've used, that we shared earlier today, is like, let's assume that you are really hungry. I mean, you're famished. You haven't eaten like all day, and we offer you a chance to go into an all-you-can-eat restaurant that is the perfect food that you like. It's wonderful, but there is just so much of it, you can't digest it all. You eat a little bit, you get a plate, you go, wow, that was great. Okay, I'll try one more plate because it's your best food. You really like it. You try another, and now you're just stuffed, and you can't have any more. But there's 14 more tables filled with your best food. You can't digest it all. And I think that's where the market is today. We've got so much out there. Would you see that as applicable?
Definitely. And we were talking about the fact just before that you do have filtering devices in place. You have curation services. You have streams and feeds and things bringing you just the best and the relevant content that you've asked for. And even with that, I probably have 10 to 20 times as much coming in as I can actually get through in a day. And so my own kind of survival mechanism is a quick scan, and there are certain people's feeds or blogs or articles that pop out at me, and it's not based on anything scientific. I just think, I'm definitely going to read that person's blog. If I only have time to read one blog, well, that's the position you want to be in. You want to be that must-read blog, that must-read article, and that must-read book author.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot now, because you are the person that founded the idea of the book midwife and put that together and helping people to put books together and really content in many different ways. So we know that we need to write compelling content. We hear that. How do we do that? How do we make something so that people are going, oh, Mindy's got another article out. I need to read this one she's got this week. How do we go about doing it? What have you seen that works with your clients?
Well, thanks for mentioning the Book Midwife, because it's a very successful brand of ours. And I still believe that to be a real thought leader, you do need a hard-hitting, thought-leading book at the heart of it all.
A book really tends to be a starting point. Articles are great, and they can lead into it. But a book, just whether it's ebook or paper book, whatever it is, we need that.
Well, the book shows that you have done that deep thinking, because the book, just by definition, has so much more in it. People know what went into it. They know the thinking. They know your own curation, your own research, your own idea generation and creativity. So the book is proof that you have that depth of knowledge and that you're capable of articulating it in more than 400 words. Yep. I don't mean to be cynical, but just about anybody could produce 400 words on something, and not everybody produces books, and this is why.
You're right. You're right. That's something that we talk about. I'm a journalist by training, so I could write about a number of different topics. We go out, we study it, and that's what journalists do. But it would not be something in-depth, and as we were talking before, I could write about, let's say nuclear physics. I don't know it, I've not studied it, but I would go out and I'd read some articles. I could produce something, but if my target market is PhDs at MIT or at Stanford or Georgia Tech, places where there's really, really smart engineers, and I was going to write for them, they would look at it and go, this is really elementary. And they're right. So we've got to get that expertise. And I think that kind of goes back to the whole idea of being a thought leader is someone who's doing a whole lot more than just a book report. What do you think?
Yeah, the thought leader is the person who knows something, knows a lot more than the average person about that topic. So, we've heard about finding a niche or a niche, as we say in the UK, and really delving into that and being a subject matter expert. The thought leader is capable of parlaying that into books and articles and blogs and speaking and videos and networking and one-to-one. It runs through everything they do. So they're great thought-leading, big, bold ideas start coming across in different media for different people. But they get to benefit from all those media.
Yeah, one of the gems you were sharing with me earlier today was we talk about repurposing your content. That's good, but you have another term that I think is as good or even better, and that is?
Pre-purposing. So what we're talking about is thinking about all of this before you even start. So the mapping and the planning that we do for books, which is why I really feel, by the way, this gives me and my team an edge over all these people who've started talking about and writing about thought leadership. They haven't helped 1,000 people plan and write books. So that, and yes, it's a little plug for us, but it goes to show that that work that's done for the book shouldn't be wasted, and you don't need to repurpose and do more work. As you're planning the book, you can be thinking about all the other things and all the other ways in which that material is going to be represented to the market. Yeah, and that's what you want to do right at the beginning.
Yeah, I like that. You're planning it beforehand.
Yes.
Make sure you know where you're going, what you're going to do, how that's going to all fit together. And I think that it starts, I like the idea of starting with a book. I've always thought no matter what you're doing a video. You start with writing it down. Write down what you're going to do, at least your bullet points, an audio. Here's what we're going to cover today, that kind of thing. Yeah. Putting it together and then build from there. Well, where do you see thought leadership going for the future? By long-term future, like 6 months or a year from now. That's long-term in technology.
Yeah,
where do you see it heading?
I think the wheat is being sifted from the chaff. Not to be too crude, but people are not stupid. And if something is being represented as thought leadership and it's not, readers will vote with their feet or their finger. They'll tap onto the next article. So it's not really about calling something thought leadership. A lot of people are using and abusing the term. It's about real thought leadership shining through. And I don't mind that the term is there as a starting point, but there's a lot of other exciting stuff that we're working on, which I can't even share with you right now because it's in my next book. But very, very soon, we will have a couple of other terms that people can use instead that might be more enlightening.
Yeah, I like what you're saying. This makes sense. And think about this. Those of you that are watching this and listening to this, being a thought leader is critical. You want to be able to get your ideas across to others. But it's not just you calling yourself a thought leader.
Never.
I think it's more about someone else saying that you are. Is that what you were feeling?
Yeah. Please don't call yourself one because people will see through that. Let your market decide. Be willing to put the work, the effort, the rigor into the thinking and into the idea generation and the content creation so that you will be doing content marketing with really great, hard-hitting, thought-leading, exciting content that we all want to see. And then, guess what? Your market will call you a thought leader. Well,
you are definitely a thought leader and a wow. And I say wow because it's interesting. As I was telling you before, Gina and I have been talking about that, my partner Gina, and we've been looking at the possibilities of where we are, what we can do, and how to go. Many of the ideas that we've had have been parallel to what you're saying. So it's refreshing and encouraging, validating to hear you talk about that. Well, I'm not going to let you get away without letting us know how somebody can get in touch with you. They say, hey, this lady knows what she's doing, and she really does know and can help you. So how do they get in touch with you? MindyGK.com. Please spell that for those that are listening on audio.
Right. MindyGK.com. And everything's under there, all my speaking and links to our businesses and videos and all sorts of interesting things for people to see and think about.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate your insights on that. You wonderful thought leader, you.
My pleasure, Terry. Thank you.